All right, we are back. OBS crashed on me while we were recording. So, I don't know why. This space, I got enough space, so 44 gigs, not too much, but I think it's enough. Certainly not making videos of 44 gigs. So yeah, OBS crashed. We're right in the middle of starting our debug. Trying to find my coffee. All right. All right, as soon as everything gets loaded, we can set a breakpoint. All right. All right, we are attached. Let's go and this one here. Put a key, spacebar. Okay, there we are. Now let's enter into this and figure out what is going on. There it is there. So we go into our constructor. This is null. I'm sitting here looking at this. I'm wondering. I don't have new on anything. I guess I'm just using the stack for everything. Oh. Just not used to seeing that in C sharp. So fog of war has an empty constructor. Now world ref does a lot. We got to go in initialize monster count, monster pointer. So we have an array of 10 monster pointers there. See, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden we were out of that. See, game instance is null. Oh, I see now. Yeah. That's before we even set the reference. Where's our initialization at? So if we go back, let's go ahead and stop that. Let's look at this right here. So once it starts, so it did fog of war was empty, and then it went into world. And then the world constructor did initialize world. So let's go back up here. See how it's making all these. Setting up the constructor. We gotta refactor this. Because it's doing a lot just on this, but it needs the game reference. So instead of this, we may have to use constructor injection instead. This is the one here. See, it's injecting right here, but we need it in the constructor. So we're gonna have to change that. This, take that out. And then let's see. See game. Game instance, and then here. Inside our world constructor here. So this right here, we're probably not going to even use this. Can't see in my keys. Trying to comment it out. Let's go over here. Do that. So we pass it in here. All right, let's try that. Oh, man. All right, let's go into this one. So we start our game. All right, what happened there? Did I click the wrong one? No, we're in game. Oh, okay, it just went through. Then we did keys. That. Then we go into our constructor. Fog of War does not have anything. Come back, we pass in this to world. There. Got that. Now we go into initialize world, and we have our game reference. See our game instance here. So we do have that. It's not null anymore. Yay. Going to draw border. We do have our game. Now that should return what? 120? Let me see. Get screen width. Returns it. What is it? It should be like 120. Looks like 0. Screen height, same thing. I don't think any of that's initialized yet. So let's look at that. So let's go into game. So we're going to have to set all that up before we do any of this. So everything inside inside game has to be initialized before we initialize anything else. Oh, man. So initialize screen in game. Where's all this being called at? Inside our constructor, we're doing this. That's the problem. Because we are doing an initial, we're doing all this before we even get to start. That's the problem. Initialize game. We should have all of this. Take this out of the constructor here. And put this in another, like initialize objects or something like that. And then throw all this in there. So we're going to go back to the property injection. Actually, I kind of like the constructor injection. We'll probably do that. Switch it over. I don't know. Right there. Initialize game objects. Let's add that. Over to our header. Initialize game. Okay, so now the game constructor will do this. And then inside here it should have our our references. So we need to do it before this. That's for sure. But it shouldn't be a part of any kind of restart. We're going to redo restart anyway. So at this point, there. So initialize game, generator screen. So these should not have anything to do with game objects. Console and screen. this is going to be totally different here. This is why I'm going to re-architect at the, I'm going to make the world into level, and then we're going to hand off a lot of stuff into level to create and set up the level, and then game will handle the game loop. I don't know, but I'm kicking around the idea of just making the levels handle it all. Oh, and that way you can just create objects, level objects, and then when you go up or down a staircase or however you change levels, it would just either grab a cached level that you've already been to or create a new level, and then the level would be as self-sustaining as possible. So I'm kicking around that idea. I think that's the way I'm going to go. But right now I just want to get this compiled and running. This has to do with a lot of ordering, so stuff has to go in a certain order for things. That's a big red flag. Anytime you see that, try to abstract all that out because you want to be able to. My idea is I can insert. I can have almost like an instruction pointer, like a CPU has an instruction pointer, and it just goes and does the whatever the IP points to. That's the next instruction. That's how it'd be here, except it would be like a command stack of like levels. And if you wanted the next, you'd have maybe if you're running on the level, I'm envisioning like inserting a restart object, and maybe that would kick off a restart, a pause object, things like that. Almost like a command pattern, but inside the game loop, where you would just run these objects. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, I'm a long way from that at the moment. But this has too much, stuff has to go in order too much. And we don't want that. We want to just say initialize this, initialize that, initialize this, initialize that. And then everything's ready and then we go. But it shouldn't matter. That's when your dependencies kick in and start tying you down because I need to initialize the world object, but then it has a reference back to game or it has a reference over to player. That's the kind of stuff that ends up bogging you down and just makes a bad architecture. So, all right, where are we at? Let's go in here. Let me see what I've got here. Where's my keys? Start talking. I can't remember where I was at. All right, let's go in here. Kick it off. Go into our debugger. Attach. Caverns. All right, let's go back and start it. All right, into the game object. Go to the constructor. It's just a bunch of stuff in there. Why does it skip over everything? Well, I guess it doesn't because we're not setting anything there. There's nothing for it to do until it gets here. Okay, I do not need to do that. Please step out. Okay, where am I at? Where's my... I'm over here in RAND CPP. And I need to get out. Okay, step over that. Yay. Yeah, I hit the step into before I realized it was a library. We do not need to go in that. Okay, so we do have our screen width and height initialized now. Yay. Oh man, shoot. Out. New character. That's a new character. We can step over those. Screen. Alright. So we have a console. It's written. Yay, okay. Now we go into game objects. Now at this point, everything should be set now. We should be able to use our references and all that. That does nothing. Screen width of 29. Why is it 29 and not 30? Oh, it's setting it now. Or 120. And then height. Get height. We're in here. I do not want to go through all that. So let's go ahead and step out of that one. Okay. Draw world. Screen instance. Then we go in here. We do not want to do that. Let's go over there. Step over that. Okay. We set our floor. This is our random walker, which actually builds everything. We do not want to go through 5,000 iterations of this. So we need to go here. We do not need this anymore. So let's do that. Step out of that. Go here. Oh my goodness. So we drew the world. Initialize entity characters, yay. Initialize info section. down with the world. Initialize monsters. And we're building this on the heap. Ah, shoot. Oh. What is it, brats? Time is at 5:50. Okay. Oh. Okay, so monsters should be all done. Now we go to player. So we created the monsters already during world. Why am I doing this? Oh, you know what? I shouldn't even have a monster ref here. Because that's inside the world. So I don't even need that. The only reason I needed that was because of the actual ASCII character. That's what that was for. So I don't even need that. So we got to take that out. This does not need to be here. All right, that's just a bunch of setters. Yeah, we'll switch over to constructor injection, and that'll reduce the code too. Ugh. So now we use our world reference. Game instance, initialize info section. Okay. Step over that. Here. See, yeah, and then we don't need any of these. Like the initialize player, that's already been done. Yeah, we don't need this. This has already been done earlier. So I remember going through this. Let me see the constructor here. Do we have a constructor? Yeah, it just calls initialize player. So we don't need that one either. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take out all the initialize code. This here. Let's go back to game. Where is my game object? Okay, so all these, what we're going to do here, we're going to pass constructor into all this. Now the ones that we do need, let me see here. Set FOW world inference. Here we're passing in a world reference. So we create our objects here, and we can pass these all in at the same time. That's probably what we're going to do. So let's see, player reference. Now the monster ref we don't even need. This one we don't need. Because the level or the world creates the monsters. So we don't need a master monster ref here. We just need the fog of war, the world or level, and then player. And this is going to be passed in to the constructor, and then we're going to pass the world into that too. So player ref, I'm going to say this, and then world ref there. Let's see that. Because we're running a lot of duplicate code in that. But we got to take that one character out of there. Just not yet, not right now. So let's go to world. We're going to accept. Oh, it's already got a game instance. We did it. Okay. And then player, which is an entity. Oh. This needs a game object. Right there. Well, actually, I don't even need that, huh? Game pointer. And a world pointer. I don't like putting the names in there on the header file. Just do it like that, and then go in here. Initialize player. That, and then we'll go ahead and set it in there. I don't want to repass everything into this, so I'm just going to do it here. Can do that, and then it'll go and initialize all this, which we really don't even need this one. We could put all this in the constructor. So it may end up doing that. Okay, so we got that. So just stepping through this, man, we found a lot of stuff on there. Set FOW player instance. So fog of war. Where's that at? Let's go ahead and put that in there. We're just going to switch it over to construction injection. And then we need to, so it looks like it needs world and player. So we're going to have to reorder that. So fog of war this. See, that's the problem that you run into on construction injection, and you need property injection. Um, for Fog of War, it might make sense because the world reference. I tell you what we should do is just send in the game. So we'll send in the game reference, not the world references. We'll go back to the old way and set those through that. So on, oops, well, shoot, can't see, like that. So let's change all that back. And then we don't need the game instance there. But we will use the set world reference. In the Fog of War, we won't use this one. Fog of War here. Player reference, okay. And player reference needs world reference, all right. There. So player game reference, we don't need that. Do not need that one. Shoot. Game instance, we can get rid of that. And this. Don't need that. Got our game instance there. Game instance. Need a game pointer on that. And then we're going to use property injection to do world and player. We don't need this anymore. Okay, we got that. All right, we're going to build. That's going to be about it for this one. Where is it? What did I do wrong? Okay, game 129. Sorry, player this. Pointer to player. Oh, what did I do wrong? Let's see, player, no overlay function, convert all the arguments. Okay, so let's go into player, entity age, player. Oh, it's taking a game in a world. That's definitely wrong. Oops. There, because we're going to be doing it here. It's okay. There. I just forgot to change that. All right, so we got that. I wonder how far we can get. It can't work. Let's try it. See how far we get. No. Oh, wait, I still got that test code, don't I? No, nothing. All right, so we got a clean build, but we still have work to do on that. So I am going to call that one, and we will continue to do that on the next one. All right, if you like this kind of stuff, please hit the thumbs up, share the channel, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will see you on the next one.